Hey guys, welcome to Thrive Bites, the official podcast of Dr. Colin Zhu, aka the Chef Doc. On every episode, I talk with health and wellness experts from all over the world, such as doctors, chefs, dietitians, coaches, and many more. And I sit down with them and have casual conversations about plant-based lifestyle, how to elevate our emotional resilience, and what it really means to thrive. And I bring all of this to you. So let's get to this week's episode. Okay, guys. Well, welcome to another episode of Thrive Bites. I'm your host, Colin Zhu, and thank you for listening on. Today, I have a wonderful guest. She is an amazing person. Say hi to Dr. Sharon Bergquist. Say hi to everyone, Sharon.
Hello. How's everyone?
I am so glad that you are here today. I'm so ready to, let the listening audience to share and listen to your story and your pathway, towards, health and lifestyle and wellness. And I'm just very, 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 very excited for her to be here. For those of you who do not know who Dr. Sharon is, she is a Rollins Senior Distinguished Clinician and Assistant Professor in Medicine in the Division of General Medicine and Geriatrics at Emory University of School of Medicine. She is also the medical director of the health program, and she leads the research program at the Internal Medicine Clinic. She has founded and directs the Emory Lifestyle Medicine and Wellness Program, where she aims to develop innovative programs to shifting our culture and health system towards a preventative and wellness and helping people and communities live healthier and more vibrant lives. She's a regular medical contributor to local and national news, including Good Morning America, CNN, Fox News Network, NPR, and the Wall Street Journal. I'm so glad for you to be here. Thank you for lending your time and voice to today's show.
Thank you so much for having me, Colin.
So I would love to know, my first question is, I love knowing how people start off. The centerpiece of the podcast is really understanding their story. And, many episodes, you could easily shift towards the science and how we, talk about health, but it's really about the centerpiece of where people go from point A to point B. So I would love to know if you can share a snippet of your story of what led to your path to lifestyle medicine and wellness.
Colin, I think a lot of the paths we end up taking in life kind of happen more by happenstance in an organic way. So there's this kind of natural start into wellness that happened kind of more in this serendipitous way, and then a more intentional way later in life when I entered healthcare. So I will go way back and say probably the most formative influence was back when I was in junior high. My father had a heart attack. Mm-hmm. Time, I knew the situation was serious, and fortunately he survived. But subsequent to that, our entire family began making small changes. Some of that was in the foods we would eat for dinner. My mother took it upon herself to really understand nutrition and change from the more oily ethnic foods that we were used to eating to more whole ingredients. We started learning about vitamins and nutrients as a family. My father, who follows physician directions to a T, began every day for an hour by walking, and it got our entire family to join him. We would all go through these trails through this local river that's here in Atlanta, and we would jog, walk every evening. And what I think about that when I look back is that it really was a journey to wellness. I mean, we didn't call it that back then, but it was this organic evolution into a lifestyle that in our entire family's trajectory has made a tremendous difference. I'm happy to say that, my father's still with us and still is remaining active and has aged, very gracefully, if I may say so. My mother's done the same. So that was kind of the more organic introduction into wellness. It was through, personal life and how it transformed the health of my family. The more intentional was when I entered healthcare. I've been practicing post-residency for 20 years now in internal medicine, and internal medicine focuses on prevention and management of chronic disease. And the further I've gotten along in trying to help my patients, the more I realize the value of lifestyle change and how true disease management and prevention can't be done in any other way.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think a lot of times we take it from either our personal experiences. We hear a lot of success stories in terms of, okay, this is this health journey or health experience that I've experienced. And then I realized that I had to pick myself up and change things around, or, it sounded like for you, it was more of a family, a family unit, and your journey as your parents distilling certain things growing up that you wanted to naturally progress into. Where's your family originally from?
From Iran.
From Iran. Great. And tell me what was the cuisines like? Tell me what was the food like, in the household for you?
Very ornate and time intense. So I'm sure my mother probably welcomes some of the changes, although she still enjoys cooking. But a lot of stews, the stews often had oil in them, but also full of a lot of herbs, influenced by the Mediterranean dietary pattern. So full of a lot of herbs and spices and flavors. Definitely contains a lot of vegetables chopped up, and so there are a lot of healthy components, but it also included a lot of meat, a lot of chicken, and some dietary fat that I would avoid in the present day.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. I really, really enjoy Mediterranean and Persian and Lebanese type of cooking. And I don't know if they all share. It sounds like they share similarities. I don't think I've ever had Iranian food before, but I would imagine they share a lot of similarities in terms of there's a lot of fresh herbs to it. There's a lot of spices, regional spices as well. So I can imagine it's very tasty, but at the same time, I have come across a lot of foods with a lot of oils, a lot of grilled meats, a lot of fried items as well. So, and having grown up in a Chinese household, similarly, we grew up with a lot more natural foods, a lot more foods that were home cooked. And so I definitely appreciate the fact of understanding where food came from and understanding what actual food is. I grew up before we actually had Asian markets. My dad and we grew up in New Jersey, and we would go into Manhattan to the Chinatown there, and we would visit the Chinatown and the Asian markets there. So before we actually had, nearby supermarkets, and so, that whole process really made me appreciate food before I delved into it later in my adult career. So that's awesome. So the next question for you is, for you, it didn't sound like it was more of a personal health journey, but for an as actual transition from general medicine, internal medicine, and leading into, what you presently practice. Can you give me a few examples of different aha moments in terms of whether you saw a series or a trend or a pattern within patients' health or, I guess their medical condition that led you to feel like, okay, I really need to delve deeper into this? Because I've talked about this earlier in my show where, we're not given enough nutritional / lifestyle related education. I think the last related survey that polled medical schools was around 2010, and 27% of them required a nutritional course. And I know for me, biochemistry, when I learned about nutrition, it was only 10 credit hours and mostly it was biochemistry. So I had to delve deeper. What was it for you that, helped you transition to say, okay, I need to go deeper into this?
Yeah. So, Colin, I have quite a few examples of how I've implemented lifestyle medicine, and a lot of the learning and skill set and understanding what lifestyle medicine is work that I did on my own, really, in skill building. As you mentioned, the training isn't the one that you typically get in medical school. I wish it were, but I went to medical school I'll date myself, about 25 years ago. So it was even less common and appreciated to have a foundational education in nutrition, as well as other components of wellness back then. So a lot of the learning was inspired by a desire to understand healthy aging. Is one of my academic interests and an area where I'm doing some research around. And besides understanding it from a clinical study way where we get a lot of evidence-based information, I have practiced, what I preach, because I feel to be effective at being a clinician, you have to do the work that you tell your patients to do. And you also, along the way, realize, what's practical, what's hard to do, where the pain points are. So you become better at coaching and counseling people. And then in my patients who have been open to the idea of managing their disease through a more natural way, I've certainly put quite a few people on plant-based diets, and I've seen dramatic changes in their blood pressure, and their blood sugar, and their cholesterol. And I've seen the changes it's made in how they feel and how they function. And those are just, there's so many similar examples that it makes the type of work that we're doing so gratifying.
What are some aspects of what you practice, that you do for yourself? Because I think it's very important for the listening audience to hear that their physician, does the same thing. It's kind of like, you're trying to go to the gym and you're trying to, get into improving your fitness and improving your physical activity, but you approach a personal trainer who, is overweight, for example, so what is it that you practice on your own to be able to lead this kind of lifestyle for also for your patients as well?
Hey guys, we're going to be taking a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This episode of Thrive Bites podcast is sponsored by Himalaya Botanic Toothpaste. Hey guys, it's Colin Zhu, aka the Chef Doc. Have you ever had a natural toothpaste and it tasting like chalk? Or something just not quite right, weird, odd, maybe downright nasty? Well, when I started and tried out Himalaya Botanic, I was convinced that it was something different. One of my favorites is Whitening Complete Care Toothpaste. This toothpaste has given me very refreshing feelings and a sense of a cleaner mouth. Sometimes using natural toothpaste can feel like a trade-off. Sure, it's great to ditch the SLS and artificial flavors, but brushing with a natural toothpaste can feel flat and bland, leaving your mouth with an unclean feeling. I've tried many toothpastes that either taste like baking soda or I feel don't really work. Himalaya Botanique, our sponsor for today's episode, is a toothpaste that's free from fluoride, SLS, and artificial flavors. But unlike other similar toothpastes, they don't compromise on flavor or performance. Himalaya toothpaste is always bursting with foam and flavor. Interested in trying it yourself? Get 20% off Himalayan Botanique toothpaste on Amazon with discount code CHEFDOC20. Check out the show notes for more details on this episode's sponsorship with Himalaya Botanique. If you have any questions, please consult your dental healthcare professional. Thanks, guys, and on to this week's episode.
Welcome back to Thrive Bites. Let's get back to the interview.
Yeah, Colin, I think the physical parts are important, but I also think the more mental and psychological part of well-being are perhaps even more important. So from the physical, like you mentioned, exercise is vital. It activates so many of our metabolic pathways. There's a threshold amount we need for our genes to properly be expressed, and that's the common pathway of why exercise can affect 40 different health conditions. So I'm a big proponent of regular exercise. It's something that, as I mentioned, started when I was a child, just exercising as a family, and something that I've continued to do throughout sports in high school and college, and really till the present day. I like to run. I call it my favorite medicine. So it's therapeutic, and I value the time I have to just be outside running without a cell phone and without anyone
Definitely.
paying attention. So it's very tranquil. And the dietary portion is also extremely important to me, because the foods that you eat not only influence your physical health, but the same biochemical pathways, for example, inflammation, oxidative damage, epigenetic changes, they influence your emotional and psychological well-being. There are now increasing studies showing that elements in the food can affect your creativity, your cognitive and thinking processes, your even your word choice. It's pretty profound that food can alter so much of your mental and emotional state. So I think dietary patterns are a big part of wellness. And then when I mentioned the psychological and spiritual, I think having a way to be resilient with all the stress in all of our lives is critical to functioning well. There's so many things I implement to try and build that ability. None of us are perfect. I think there are evidence-based tools that we can use that really make a difference. One example is meditation. And when I tell you that I do these myself so I can appreciate how hard they are when I recommend them, it's the perfect example. Like when I started, I would maybe last, 3 seconds or 5 seconds before my mind would, get cluttered with all these thoughts. And it took months, maybe even up to a full year, where I kept on doing it and kept on doing it, saying, okay, something's supposed to happen. Something's supposed to happen. And finally, I was able to get into this incredible state where I can control my mind and not let intrusive thoughts come in. And I just remember at that moment, I could go for 45 minutes and even longer, and it was so powerful. But it took so much work and so much of a leap of faith that I was going to do something that would make a difference in my mental state, to be able to persist. So those are just some of the techniques, but there are, as lifestyle medicine is so, there's so many others that touch on our motivation, our reason for being, and really understanding what gets us out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's very important to share what we do as healthcare professionals, providers. In a way, we're also role models. We're those community leaders, and I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, meditation is not easy or it's challenging for everyone. I took a retreat in Vipassana meditation, and it's a very non-secular technique derived from the Buddha, and it teaches you in terms of how to observe all of your senses that are going through your body. And I think it's sharing your experience. It's really about there's a lot of things that you don't realize that circulate in your head. I like to call it the chatterbox or the hamster wheel of thoughts, and it's very important to recognize that it's we're not those thoughts, we're not those even those emotions at the end of the day. And yes, we could digress, and that could be an entirely different episode, but I also found it very, very challenging. It was one of the hardest things that I had to experience, and had to and that's something that I chose to do, but it was amazing. It was very profound on a deeper level, and it's kind of hard to explain if you don't experience it. And it doesn't have to be meditation that I went through or what you went through. It's really about how you decide to practice. And I think it's very important, as you say, that the mental, emotional, and spiritual part is just as, if not more important than the physical health. I would like to transition and talk about our current landscape of healthcare. And sometimes we have a different name of it. Sometimes people call it sick care. And, it's a form of describing our system of, it's not really addressing the root cause. And I think that's how lifestyle medicine, came to be. For those of you in the listening audience, lifestyle medicine is really using evidence-based lifestyle approaches to prevent, treat, and reverse chronic disease. So my question to you is, in our culture of quote unquote sick care, why do you think lifestyle medicine is needed more than ever? And to add to that, in an ideal world, how would you fully implement something like this?
Right. Colin, that is such a great question. And I think the need for lifestyle medicine comes down to the simple fact that the current trends in our healthcare system are not sustainable. And by that, I, not only mean from a financial basis where we are seeing spiraling increases in healthcare expenditures, where at a national level, we can't sustain, but at an individual level, we're seeing epidemic rates of diabetes, obesity, and other chronic illnesses, and the toll it's taking on quality of life, as well as life expectancy, is something that I think needs to be a trend that we, flatten the curve, if you will, on. There was an article some time back showing that our children are going to be the first generation in almost 200 years that are anticipated to have a shorter life expectancy.
Yeah.
So I think there's such a need for doing healthcare in a different way. And that different way is getting at the root cause. It's getting at prevention, not just treatment.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And it's very sad, to hear that our latter generations might not outlive, the prior. And, because of X amount of reasons, because of childhood obesity, because of, earlier onset of, last article I read in stats was colon cancer. You're seeing more and more earlier generations, even though their 20s, are being diagnosed with colon cancer and heart disease. And because of our the way we've been living our day to day. So it's very important to address it and to address it well. And, I think the financial part of our healthcare system and the costs really, really weighs in, and it takes up a significant portion of our gross domestic product of our economy. So I would love to learn about what you do in terms of what the work you're performing at Emory. Describe what Emory Lifestyle Medicine and Wellness is. And, to add to that, I would love to hear how other healthcare institutions can possibly follow, your model and, where to start.
Yeah, so Colin, we started Emory Lifestyle Medicine and Wellness in 2017, and it's a program that we created where we could not only offer knowledge but experiential learning in the fundamental pillars of lifestyle medicine. Those, as you mentioned, including nutrition, culinary skills, exercise, mental health being, and also psychological well-being, motivation, purpose in life. And we felt very strongly that experiential learning, meaning hands-on, is what you need to build skills. We've already learned that knowledge is not enough. Most people know that vegetables are good for them. But to build a skill in how to cook vegetables in a way that's affordable, quick, tasty, in a practical way that you can implement into your life is where I think, the harder challenge is. And you need that skill set to be able to change your behavior, and you need to change your behavior in order to change your risk of developing a disease. So that's really where our programs, originate. It's out of that skill building. Mm-hmm. And we've also felt very strongly that multidisciplinary programs where we combine skill sets across the different pillars of lifestyle medicine are more effective than programs that only target one area. So, for example, if we just teach a person about nutrition and how to prepare food, but that person struggles with, stress and eats mindlessly out of response to stress as a mechanism, well, we really haven't helped the person if we aren't treating every dimension of their well-being. And so we created some multidisciplinary programs. One in particular uses a teaching kitchen model where we brought together faculty members with decades of experience in exercise and exercise physiology and mindfulness-based eating and yoga and ethnobotany and culinary skills and nutrition, and across various disciplines as well as stress resilience. And we created a program that not only taught in a didactic way, but helped people experience and live each of the techniques. Mm-hmm. And did it in a group setting where the power of the group offered this tremendous support for people to troubleshoot, share their challenges, and share solutions of overcoming those challenges. So those are the types of programs that we do, and some of them are done for patients, some of them are done at a corporate level with some corporate partners, but we just look for opportunities to work with people who want to approach their health from a more natural, lifestyle-based way.
Hey guys, we're going to be taking a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Thrive Bites. Let's get back to the interview.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's 2 points I love to talk about is the fact that you have, in a way, a lot of hands on deck, so to speak, quote unquote. And it's the multidisciplinary approach. And, I do family medicine, and as a general practitioner, and I'm sure for you, it's a very, very very cool, to be able to rely on your specialty care, and the fact that, if the patient is unable to fulfill a certain aspect of their care, we could, rely on other specialists to, jump in. I think it's interesting in terms of lifestyle medicine, to be able to have that as well. And I totally agree with you. It's not as simple. I think when people think about health, they immediately jump towards nutrition, and diet, which, yes, that is a very, very important aspect, but there's a lot of things that are interrelated to it. And lifestyle medicine is not just the food aspect. It's, the mental aspect. And you're talking about, addressing the stress and addressing, what are the external obstacles that are preventing this person from making these positive behavior changes, for example. And so I love the fact that you have a lot of other professionals that are helping as well. The second thing I enjoy hearing is the group aspect. A lot of what we do in primary care is a one-on-one basis. I know for me, whenever I counsel someone, it's sometimes, I would hit home for some people because I feel like a subset of patients are really, really self-motivated to change, and they're just going to absorb whatever you counsel them, coach them, tell them in the present moment. There's another subset of patients where I find that they rather not bother with their current health state and rather just band-aided with just a medication, or rather just opt for the procedure. And then you have a subset of patients where they don't know where to go. They're open to positive behavior changes, but they don't know what to do. So they're open for information. But what's powerful is the group setting. I find that whenever I hold a workshop or, speak, towards a larger group audience, it's more effective. And, I would like for you to kind of share, what is it about that kind of setting that makes it effective, especially for lifestyle medicine?
Colin, I think the part that makes it effective is because our environment, the culture that we're in, works against our well-being, meaning that the default choices in our environment are not healthy choices. It's far easier to go through a fast food drive-through than to chop up your own vegetables and create a home-cooked meal. It's far easier to sit in a car than to walk to a place to get exercise. So our environment is not conducive to lifestyle medicine or using lifestyle as medicine. When you create a group, you are providing support because the work that you have to do is unfortunately really difficult in our, health, in our culture as a nation. And when you are working with other people that are going through the same struggles, I think it gives you the support that you need to know you're not alone. It makes it more likely that you can stick with the changes that you're trying to make. And when you encounter obstacles, having other people to tell you how they've overcome those obstacles and maybe share ideas is just a powerful way to stay on track.
Yeah, and I think it's the peer ability to be able to relate to another fellow patient, and being in that same environment. I think that's why, for example, Alcoholics Anonymous is very, very effective, and also group therapy for mental health is also very effective. It's that aspect of being able to share with, your peers and for them to be able to relate on that level. I think that we need to utilize this much more. It's called shared medical visits or group medical appointments for those that are healthcare professionals in the listening audience. And we can actually bill for this. It just takes a creative way of, reorganizing how you see your patients. For the programs that you implement, and for people that are listening in that, may be coming from other healthcare institutions, what would you say are tips or starters in terms of how they can set up similar programs within their institutions?
Yeah, Colin, if you're working with a large organization, so I work for a large academic health center, I think, one of the keys is having organizational support. Because I think, even when you build a program, having an organization support you can help with, financial issues, with staffing, with promotion of your programs, and in the way that what we're doing can integrate and really kind of coordinate with the other types of care we deliver at our institution. So the first thing is really getting organizational support. The other part is delivering lifestyle-based medicine is best when it's done in a team-based way. It takes people with varying types of expertise, such as dietitians, such as exercise physiologists or health coaches. So you have to build a team. It's really difficult, but not impossible to do by yourself. But I think when you have a team, you can reinforce the same message through different perspectives and different expertise, and that makes the experience richer. And on that note, I also think forming collaborations and setting up any type of program, whether it's lifestyle medicine or any other type of program, a collaboration, I think, is key. I think, two minds are always better than one. I think the way people work together to bring ideas together is so helpful and powerful. And when you try and do the same on your own, you can. It's not to discourage that, doing some work on your own. It's just that when you bring together different ideas and work as a team, I think what you're able to do is so much greater.
Yeah, I think especially for lifestyle medicine, I totally agree with you that it's a team emphasized approach. And I feel like it's, having that synergy of being able to share those knowledge base and expertise makes it that much better for patients and for those professionals alike. Because even though we have the science and evidence and all that, lifestyle medicine, it's not a new concept. It's really about, taking those foundational pillars of lifestyle medicine, for the listening audience, it's, diet, nutrition, reducing risky behaviors, sleep, community, love, support, physical activity. It's really about emphasizing those and really, really, really building that foundation, and to kind of hit it home to, have that as part of your medical journey, if not, the forefront. But we also definitely say, follow your, primary care specialist and your primary care team, in conjunction with all this. So Sharon, thank you so much. I definitely want to close out, and I love asking my guests this is, how do they personally thrive? How do you personally thrive? And, you do go into this a little bit, and I love to hear about, what pushes you to get up in the morning to do what you do. Obviously, you've, done a lot of work within the field and you continue to do. But what do you do on, for yourself, to, continue to fuel that fire?
Con, I think the most powerful way to fuel the fire to keep moving forward is clearly defining for yourself what your purpose is, what gives meaning to your life. And I think that's the starting point. And then your actions and things that you do can align with that. And so for me, that is, helping to make a difference, to people through prevention, as well as to make my contribution at whatever level to move our culture to help reach a tipping point where wellness is the norm and where it's mainstream in our healthcare system.
Mm-hmm.
To focus and have conversations around nutrition or around stress management. And for me, dedicating time to that, in addition to my other responsibilities, is such a motivator. It keeps me going forward. There are studies that show that if you can spend 20% of your time dedicated to the things that you're passionate about, that make you thrive, it helps you, around the other 80% of your time that may be spent on things that are just necessity, to get your day and survive. And so I try and keep that 80-20 rule, where within, not necessarily every single day, but averaged over a week or a month, where I try and spend 20% of my time focused on doing things that fulfill my personal purpose and mission.
Awesome. Well, I love it. Thank you so much again. So for the listening audience members that are, hearing your story and, your ability to talk about what you do, where can they find you and how would they reach out to you? I know that you yourself are also a podcast host. Can you talk a little bit about, what your podcast showcases and how people can listen in and reach out to you?
Oh, absolutely, Colin. So, we both share such a passion around lifestyle medicine, and our podcast is called The Whole Health Cure. And similar to those, it's spreading the science behind lifestyle medicine. And we also have get experts in various areas of lifestyle medicine. Just talk about whether it's the science, whether it's practical implementation, whether it's leading a national organization in lifestyle medicine, or if some people have written content such as books or publications around it, just having people share the work that they're doing. And, as I'm sure you do, it's very inspirational. Learn about all the work that is being done in all the different pockets of the country and even across the world, where, people are doing their part, and how, each person doing a small part can grow into a large difference for the way we approach healthcare.
And your podcast is available on, all the major platforms and all that?
Yes, we're on 12 platforms, so all the major platforms, as you just said, and then of course through Emory Lifestyle Medicine and Wellness, through our website, you can reach out to me or to us, and hopefully, if there are any questions or ways we can help, we're here.
Awesome. Well, this is great. Well, thank you very, very much. I think it's very important to be able to share lifestyle medicine, wellness experts, and leaders in the field to continue to help, just charge the way and pioneer in this. And I think you've been doing an amazing job. And I appreciate, you as a person and, your contribution. So very, 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 very grateful and humbled. So thank you again for being on the show today.
Oh, Colin, I appreciate all the work that you do, and I appreciate the opportunity to be on your podcast.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Guys, this has been another episode of Thrive Bites. If you like this, please like, follow, and subscribe, and please catch us on the next episode. Thank you to Dr. Sharon again.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, that was another episode of Thrive Bites. If you like that episode, please subscribe and follow for new episodes. And don't forget to rate us on Apple Podcasts.